Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of From the Studio. Happy to be back from vacation. I am your host, Corey Riggs, welcoming you inside our MC22 studio and thrilled to be with you all once again. On this week's show, we'll go back to the topic that has dominated the headlines in this country since March. The coronavirus numbers appear to be on the rise again in southwest Missouri and in surrounding states. So much so that some are thinking a masking requirement may be in order. The mayor of Springfield is Ken McClure, and he will join us first on From the Studio. Later, we will visit with local author and play catch proponent Ethan Bryan. His book, A Year of Playing Catch, is available for pre-order now, and we will talk to him about the book, his love of baseball, and more. If you like our show, please let us know on social media. We're open to suggestions on topics to tackle and guests to have on. Look us up on Twitter at FromTheStudio22. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned. The mayor of Springfield, Ken McClure, joins us from the studio after this.
Find your next car at ReliableSuperstore.com. Reliable Superstore is here to help with Toyota, BMW, Lexus, and Audi. Need service? Take advantage of our pickup and delivery. Reliable Superstore is here for you. Renew Crew is open and providing free in-person and virtual estimates for all your deck cleaning needs. Their team takes all precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Give Renew Crew a call today.
In every community, young people are proving their abilities to lead through accomplishment in the classroom and beyond. At Mediacom, we're proud to recognize these outstanding individuals by awarding world-class scholarships. By investing in these young leaders and their educations, we believe that we're creating a more promising future for everyone. Congratulations to each and every winner. Mediacom, powering the future.
From the Studio continues now, and a unique opportunity. Our first repeat guest since starting this show almost 16 weeks ago. He is the mayor of Springfield. Ken McClure joins us now on From the Studio. Mr. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm well, sir. Corey, thank you for having me. Are you doing well as well?
I am. Coming back from vacation, just trying to get my feet back under me like everybody does when they spend a week away from the office. But we have you back on for the similar reason that we did the first time when we first spoke to you almost 15 weeks ago, and that's because of the coronavirus. You know, there's a lot of people in southwest Missouri and in the Springfield community, Mr. Mayor, that felt like they did everything that they could to help flatten the curve. And our numbers were looking really good for a long time. Now those numbers seem to be on the rise again, and the city is considering a masking ordinance, not unlike what we've seen passed in St. Louis, Kansas City, and just earlier this week in the city of Columbia on a 6-1 vote. Tell me, what are the matrix that the health department, the hospitals, and city government are looking at that is leading us to this point where we're going to put this ordinance in front of city council next week?
It's not just a question of increased cases, although that is bothersome. We knew that once restrictions started being lifted, and we did that back in the first week of May, that we would probably see an increase of cases, and we have. I think it's fair to say it's been larger than what we had hoped for. But nevertheless, we were expecting an increase. One of the things that we are watching closely is the capacity of our healthcare facilities, Cox and Mercy, as well as the staffing capability that we have with our Springfield Greene County Health Department. They've just been tirelessly throughout this, but they're getting close to being swamped where they cannot even handle the workload requirements. And then you compound that with what we're seeing in surrounding counties. So that's the big difference from what we saw back in March and April. McDonald, Newton, Jasper counties to our southwest for the early months of all of this COVID crisis, they saw practically no cases. And now they are leading the state in this. And then you add to that Northwest Arkansas coming up through Fayetteville, Bentonville, Springdale. And all of that is impacting directly Springfield, Greene County, and our surrounding counties, Christian and Taney, to name a couple. And so we have to take all of that into account. Our health care facilities serve all of Southwest Missouri. So it's not just a Springfield or Greene County case. So when we entered into our stay-at-home orders back in March, that was a difficult decision, but it was clearly driven by what we thought was going to happen. And it turned out that our strong action then allowed us to start to open up. We took action when we should. It was strong. Certainly closing businesses down or asking certain businesses to modify their actions, a drastic move, and certainly one that was not taken lightly. But now we're dealing with almost 4 months worth of data. We know what cases are, we know what healthcare capacities are, and we know the risk that run. And then you add to that the national experiment, which has become on what happened with the Great Clips episode here in Springfield. We saw firsthand masking does have an impact. That was where we had stylists involved who were infected. So it does work. To me, it's a small price to pay for not having to go backwards. And that ultimately is the question which I had to ask myself.
Well, I know the concept of wearing a mask versus stay-at-home orders and seeing businesses close, I think everybody can agree that's something that we want to keep going, is to be able to go to work, keep businesses open. You mentioned how we're trying to keep the hospitals from getting overrun with cases, and that you've already got the Springfield Greene County Health Department stretched to the end of their rope with trying to keep up with all of these cases. When you look at adding an ordinance like this to phase 4 of the Road to Recovery plan, who is going to enforce these rules, the stipulation that you have to wear a mask when you're out in public? Does this fall on local law enforcement, or is this one other task that the health department has to take on?
Well, that's a fair question. Enforcement is difficult, if not impossible, in this. I fear that we're going to have neighbor reporting neighbor and business reporting business. That's not the idea. I keep coming back to the fact that, yes, it is enforceable, but it's going to be applied, hopefully, best by personal responsibility. What I'm hoping and urging people to do is be fair to your neighbors, to your co-workers. Wear one of these things. It's not the end of the world to do it. It's the basic example I use is when I wear it, I am protecting you from me. When you wear one, you're protecting me from you. And that's pretty basic personal responsibility. So is it, would it be a part of city code subject to certain fines? Yes. Is it going to be difficult to enforce? Yes. It's ultimately going to get down to people doing the right thing. I have confidence that the vast majority of our citizens will do that. I also have confidence that people should not hesitate to call somebody out. If they're in a store and somebody's not wearing them, they ought to be able to call them out. I don't feel safe around you. It's personal responsibility, and that ultimately is going to keep us, if successful, from having to go back. No one wants to have to go back and say we've got to restrict business activity again. Some jurisdictions around the country are doing that. We do not want to do that here. Wearing one of these things is going to at least help us do that. And so that's what I urge for the personal responsibility aspect of that.
You also have to feel good that you've got community partners that are helping back this move as well. Prior to the announcement that this would go before City Council, both Missouri State and OTC came out and said as they work toward the goal of seated classes in the fall, one of the requirements, and we're talking about the fall now, well past July and August, of having a requirement to wear masks in seated classes at both schools.
We seem to be having a community consensus, and I've been in constant contact with the leadership of all of our higher education institutions as they plan for their fall activities, and they're making the right steps, they're making the right decisions. Each one's a little different depending upon the physical layout of the campus, administrative versus classroom buildings, that type of thing. But that's where they're going because they've got to protect the student population. Students are coming back right now. Missouri State, for example, is starting this week with its SOAR program, the Student Orientation Registration. And so we're starting to get more activity on campuses, which has been basically vacant for 4 months. That's going to increase the risk, but the colleges and universities are doing exactly the right thing. And what we're doing, it's been an incredible debate. It's incredibly divisive, but there seems to be, as I perceive it, a community consensus evolving around this. I've detected that on city council as we've spent the last couple of weeks considering what options we had. I think you will see pretty much a united council, if not unanimous, then darn close to it as we approach this.
Well, I agree with you. This concept, the requirement of wearing masks, it has been divisive. It has been something that can kind of be the topic that starts an argument between family members over the holidays. A lot of that comes from the fact that there are people, not just in this community, but nationwide, that say the increase in positive testing numbers isn't real, that the numbers have been there this whole time, just we have more testing capabilities now, and that's showing the increase in numbers. We had fewer tests 2 or 3 or 4 months ago. How would you respond to that sort of argument?
Well, certainly more tests are going to result in more positive identifications, no questions about that. The testing is critical, but I think if you see where the outbreaks have occurred nationwide, particularly in states that were claiming we can open up right now and not have an impact on that belies that argument. Yes, more tests is going to have more cases, but we're seeing far more impact, and all you need to do is look at our Southwest Missouri counties to see that. They didn't have those initially. They do now, and those are real numbers. And even if you say it's because of the testing, that doesn't negate the fact that it is a real threat. And if we have to take steps like masking to help control it, that's just a common sense thing. So the testing helps, but the numbers are increasing, and I don't think there should be any valid question about that.
Well, I know there are already masking mandates in Kansas City, St. Louis. Columbia passed theirs this week, hopefully on Monday night. City Council will continue and follow your lead and pass the ordinance Monday night. If they do, is there been any thought given to whether or not it would go into effect immediately, or it would be held until the phases change around July 15th?
Well, our meeting next week is on July 13, Monday night. The current order that the mayor issued expires July 15. So the council ordinance would replace the mayor's order as of 12:01 a.m. on July 16. That's when the new phase 4 would take effect, as well as the masking requirements. So we're looking at roughly July 16 with the council action on July 13.
All right. Mr. Mayor, you are always so generous with your time. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing to keep the community informed. It's very much needed and very much appreciated.
Our pleasure. The Mayor of Springfield, Ken McClure. We'll be back with more from the studio here in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Brett Johnston. Watch Soundcheck on MC22 for a look inside the Springfield music scene. Recorded right here at the Classic Rock Coffee Company, Soundcheck features an in-depth look at local bands with original music performances and sit-down interviews. Catch it on MC22, on demand, or online at mc22.net. From our stage to your living room, Soundcheck is your local music connection.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
As COVID-19 impacts our community, Metro Appliances and More continues to serve you. Although our showroom is closed, our business is open. Live chat on our website or call the store and speak to an appliance expert. Metro Appliances and More is committed to serving you safely. Even in uncertain times, Blue Current remains open to serve you. At Blue Current, almost all services can be completed from your mobile device in the safety of your own home. Visit our website for details or download our app. Blue Current is committed to building better communities together.
From the studio continues now here on MC22 with our second guest. He is the author of A Year of Playing Catch, I am proud to say that I was one of 365 folks that got to join him for an afternoon of a game of catch, and that author is Ethan Bryan. Ethan, how are you doing? Maybe more importantly, how is the arm doing?
It's ibuprofen and icy had become a regular part of my regimen.
That's probably a good thing after a year of playing catch. Well, I am familiar with your story, but not everybody is. Let's begin there. The first time I saw it, it was on Twitter with the hashtag Catch365. How did you start, and how did this story begin with the idea that you would play catch every day for a year?
It's because of a Christmas gift. For Christmas 2017, my youngest daughter gave me a baseball that just simply said, "Dad, want to play catch?" And I thought it was a gift certificate. At any time I would ask her to play catch with me, she'd say yes. And so on January 1st, 2018, it was 1 degree outside. And I said, "Hey, Sophie, do you want to go outside and play catch?" And she's like, I said, "Do you want to go play catch?" And she's like, "Outside?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "At a baseball park?" It's like, "Sure, we can find one." And she said yes, she agreed. And so we went to Fast Night Field over by Parkview High School, and we probably each had 5 or 6 layers on. The good news is that there's no snow on the ground. It was really sunny, really bright. It was so cold, and we threw the ball about 30 times, and we used her cell phone to take a selfie, and then I posted it on an old blog, said something like, "Happy New Year, first day of the year, frozen smiles," or something like that. My oldest daughter said, "Well, I'll play catch with you when we got back." And so that afternoon, we stepped out in the backyard and played catch and took another selfie and put it on the same old blog. And it literally took off. That night at dinner, we're talking and like, "Dad, what would happen if you play catch every day for a whole year?" I was like, "Oh, I know what would happen. I'd have to have surgery." And you should do it. And so it took him a couple days to talk me into it. But I promise it was one of the best years of my life.
Well, it was an amazing story to watch it unfold. You got a ton of help along the way. A lot of folks in the local media and everything stepped up. They played catch with you. They helped spread your story. At what point in time, with you having a writing background, was it early on that you started thinking this is going to be a book? Or maybe how far into the year were you? Or were you completely done before you decided, I'm going to write all this down?
Well, when it started, I was actually working on 2 completely different book projects. And I don't know why along with playing catch every day, I posted a blog about playing catch every day. And so I had that going along with it. And so with the 2 writing projects plus the daily blogging, writing a book about playing catch was really, really far from my mind. So on day number 70, right around there, my writing mentor, his name is Robert Benson, and he texts me and he says, "You are writing a book, my friend." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He says, you need to write a book about playing catch. And I was like, I haven't even considered it. I don't even know what you're thinking about. And 70 days in, you still you're only a fifth of the way through the year. And it's like, we got a lot to ask of this old arm to make it through a whole year before we can even think about that. And so I made it through the year and started writing a book about it and sent it to a couple people. And their first response was, "Well, this isn't very good. You need to try again." I fell asleep in chapter 2. I was like, "Oh, wow." Oof. So I deleted 40,000 words, started over, rewrote it, sent it to an agent, and he says, "I don't like baseball." I was like, "Oh, okay." He says, "But I love this story."
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, okay." And it kind of took off from there.
When you look back on it now with the book getting ready to release in September, I'm sure that all of it at sometimes is a blur, but having captured it each day with that daily blog, were there any places that you got to play catch that stand out that maybe you wouldn't have had the project not gotten as big as it got, or maybe some of the people you got the opportunity to play catch with that you wouldn't normally just find in a park in Springfield?
Yeah, exactly. My family took 2 different road trips for the express purpose of me to go places and meet people for playing catch. And so we went to Bayer Stadium where the Rockford Peaches played, and I got to play catch with a lady who played in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Wow.
And she was also in the movie. In fact, she just turned 88, Mary Moore, and she has a fantastic story. There's not a chance I would have met her or played catch with her if we hadn't gone on that road trip. We went to Rickwood Field down in Birmingham, Alabama. It's the oldest professional baseball park in the States. We went to the field of the Daytona Tortugas, Jackie Robinson Ballpark, which is where he officially broke the color barrier in affiliated baseball when he played with the Montreal Royals. I mean, there were 10 states, 12,000 miles, 530 different catch partners. And then, of course, for the very first time in my life, I finally got to go to the Field of Dreams with my dad. And that was an incredible experience. We went to meet a man who is 84. I think Stan is 84 years old, and he still plays competitive baseball. He's played competitive baseball his whole life. So
that is amazing.
I could go forever just telling you the places we went and the people. It was amazing.
It makes me feel like my 2,000-mile round trip run to South Dakota for vacation really wasn't all that far. Did you have to get a new car when it was done?
No, we just put new tires this week on the Bryan family Millennium Falcon. 220,000 miles. It's still going strong.
Well, National Play Catch Week was just recently, June 21st through the 27th, I think. I imagine that week didn't go by without you doing some sort of activity during that time. What did you go do?
I was privileged with the honor of kicking it off. I played in a marathon game of catch with several friends from the local Grip and Rip Baseball League. I threw a ball for 200 minutes to raise money for the local Boys and Girls Club, their baseball and softball teams. And it was so much fun. We were really thankful to Cy Sports for letting us use their indoor facility because it was so hot outside. But I had 13 catch partners, 200 minutes. It was a wonderful experience. And then to read stories of friends and new friends from all across the country who had got out their gloves and went out with their children and their parents and just celebrated the joy of playing catch.
Yeah, I saw there was a live stream up for quite a bit of that with Rance Berger and you and your catch partners, and I got to see some of that. It was very good. There was a back and forth on Twitter a while back that you were involved in the discussion of playing catch or have a catch. I don't think I ever saw the end of that debate. How did that end up turning out? Because I wasn't a have a catch guy. I'm definitely a playing a game of catch sort of guy.
I am fully in the boat of playing catch.
Yeah.
I think the only have a catch reference comes from the movie, from what I've researched, and but it's interesting how people respond to have a catch depending on how they feel about the movie.
Yeah.
So, but when I went up to the field with Dad, there in Dyersville, you heard people say have a catch intentionally, and it's something about the awkwardness or the uniqueness of that phrase that is that kind of familiar baseball motif that just tugs at your emotions.
Yeah, Field of Dreams is literally a part of the fabric of baseball now, and excited to see the Cardinals get to go up there and play now. I know you're a Royals guy, but the Cardinals are going to step in and take on the White Sox in the Field of Dreams game this summer. One more thing before I let you go, Ethan. Obviously the book, I know I've seen on Twitter you've gotten some actual copies in your hand, which must feel amazing. How can people pre-order the book, and when can they expect them to come out?
Easiest way to pre-order is just go to my website, ethanbryan.com, and it officially publishes on September 8th. And we are so excited for people to read it, to just enjoy the story, follow along the trips and all the places that I was blessed to go with my family.
Well, I am looking forward to getting my copy of it. I may have to get 2 copies and give one of them to my dad for Father's Day. I think that'd make a pretty good Father's Day gift. Ethan Bryan, in a year of playing catch, man, thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back and wrap up from the studio here in just a minute.
At Orange Leaf, we're still swirling, just doing it a little different. Both Springfield Orange Leaf locations are open, offering crew-serve carryouts, party box catering, curbside pickup, and delivery. At Orange Leaf, we're all about making life sweeter.
Kevin here once again for Seeger Toyota of St. Robert. Our service department still has drop-off and pickup available after hours, and pickup and delivery for you locally if you need assistance. We will make sure your vehicle is sanitized before being returned to you as well. That's from your friends at Seeger Toyota of St. Robert. We are here for you.
Hi, I'm Judy Ballou, your host for Dishing It Up. I invite you to join me every week as we watch some of the Ozarks' favorite chefs come into the demonstration kitchen at Metro Appliances and More and prepare some of their favorite dishes.
This is fun for TV.
You
do sweet and savory together all the time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Watch Dishing It Up on channel 722 in high definition.
Well, that'll about do it for this episode of From the Studio. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at FromTheStudio22, or you can follow me at Corey Riggs TV. If you have an idea for a topic or a guest, please send it our way and we'll try to get them on an upcoming show. Before we say goodbye for this episode, let me double back around to our first guest and topic with Springfield Mayor Ken McClure. The coronavirus numbers are on the rise again. No one wants to go back to stay-at-home orders. No one wants to see the economy take another hit. No one wants to see kids kept from returning to school in the fall. So how do we as a community do our part to make this happen? Well, maybe all we have to do is look back at our childhood. As a child growing up outside the little town of Carterville, Missouri, I read comic books. I read a lot of comic books, to be honest with you. I was enthralled by the stories of superheroes of all shapes and sizes. DC and Marvel, from Batman and the Flash to Iron Man and Spider-Man. Their bravery and strength of will always made me want to be better. Whether or not this ordinance passes on Monday night in Springfield, I hope you will join me and do what we can to protect each other, to protect ourselves, to be like the superheroes in those comic books. Just like they did, wear a mask. Superheroes didn't wear masks to protect themselves, they often said. It was always that they wanted to protect those that they loved. Enough said on that. Our final thank yous for this show go out to our guests, Springfield Mayor Ken McClure and author Ethan Bryan in his book, A Year of Playing Catch. And as always, thanks to all of you for watching. Until next time, for our MC22 crew, I'm Corey Riggs saying so long from the studio.